Final buzzer had barely sounded before the entire basketball world went into shock. South Carolina players stormed the court in celebration. Fans inside the arena erupted with deafening screams as Dawn Staley's Gamecocks punched their ticket to another massive victory. Cameras flashed everywhere. Confetti drifted slowly through the air. But then something happened that instantly stole the spotlight away from the game itself. At center court, during what should have been a routine handshake line, tensions exploded between two of the biggest names in women's basketball history. Geno Auriemma, Dawn Staley. And a fiery confrontation that nobody saw coming. Within minutes, clips of the exchange flooded social media. Sports shows replayed the footage non-stop. Fans argued online for hours. Some blamed Geno for letting emotions get the better of him. Others defended him, saying the pressure of the moment would break almost anyone. And now, Geno Auriemma is finally opening up about what happened that night, admitting he walked away feeling like a dumbass after the emotional clash. That one quote changed everything. Because this wasn't just another coach losing a game. This was Geno Auriemma, the architect of the UConn dynasty. One of the greatest coaches in basketball history. A man who built women's basketball into a national powerhouse over decades of dominance. And for perhaps the first time in years, fans saw him completely overwhelmed by emotion on the biggest stage. Before we dive into this explosive story, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications because we bring you the biggest women's basketball stories every single day. And don't forget to comment below, do you think Geno deserved the backlash after the Dawn Staley confrontation, or do you respect him more for apologizing afterward? Because this story is about way more than one heated moment. It's about pressure, legacy, competition, and the battle for control of women's basketball itself. To understand why this confrontation became such a massive story, you have to understand what's been happening in the sport over the last several years. For decades, UConn was untouchable. When people thought about women's basketball dominance, they thought about Geno Auriemma and the Huskies. Championships became expected. Final Fours felt automatic. Superstars came through the program one after another. Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi, Maya Moore, Breanna Stewart. The list seemed endless. Geno created a dynasty unlike almost anything sports had ever seen. But eventually, the landscape began changing. Other programs got stronger. The transfer portal changed recruiting. NIL created new opportunities. And perhaps most importantly, one coach built a program powerful enough to challenge UConn's throne directly. Dawn Staley. What Dawn built at South Carolina completely transformed the sport. Her teams played with toughness, confidence, and swagger. Elite recruits wanted to wear Gamecocks jerseys. South Carolina became the program everyone feared. And slowly, the balance of power started shifting. That created an emotional rivalry between two legendary coaches. Every matchup between UConn and South Carolina suddenly felt personal. Fans debated which coach represented the future of women's basketball. Recruiting battles intensified. Media coverage exploded. And every game between the programs carried enormous pressure. That pressure reached another level during the Final Four showdown. For UConn, the game represented a chance to reclaim dominance. For South Carolina, it was another opportunity to prove they were now the standard everyone else had to chase. From the opening tip, South Carolina looked fearless. The Gamecocks played aggressively on defense, controlled the pace, and physically wore UConn down possession after possession. Meanwhile, frustration slowly started building on Geno's sideline. Every missed shot hurt more. Every whistle seemed more irritating. Every South Carolina run increased the pressure. You could see the emotions building in real time. And by the fourth quarter, it became obvious that South Carolina was taking control. When the final buzzer sounded, emotions exploded immediately. Players lined up for the post-game handshake line. Then came the moment everyone started talking about. Cameras captured Geno and Dawn exchanging tense words near center court. The interaction quickly escalated enough for assistants and officials to move closer before things got worse. The moment lasted only seconds. But in today's sports world, seconds are enough to create chaos online. Social media exploded instantly. Fans replayed the clip over and over trying to figure out what was said. Some accused Geno of disrespecting South Carolina's victory. Others argued people were overreacting to a heated sports moment between fierce competitors. Then the conversation became even bigger. Commentators debated whether race played a role in how the confrontation was interpreted publicly. Some felt Dawn Staley faced different standards throughout her coaching career. Others believed the entire situation was simply about sportsmanship and emotion. Suddenly, the incident became national news. And throughout all the noise, Geno stayed mostly silent. Until he finally addressed the situation publicly. When he did, people expected excuses. Instead, they got honesty. Geno admitted he regretted the confrontation almost immediately afterward. He described replaying the moment in his mind and thinking to himself, 5 more seconds, you couldn't keep it together for 5 more seconds. Then came the quote that spread everywhere. I feel like a dumbass. Fans were stunned by how blunt and vulnerable the response sounded. Because legendary coaches rarely speak that openly after controversial moments. But Geno didn't dodge responsibility. He admitted emotions got the better of him, and according to reports, he later apologized directly to Dawn Staley as well. That accountability changed public perception for many fans. Even people critical of the confrontation admitted the apology felt genuine. Meanwhile, Dawn Staley handled the aftermath with incredible composure. Instead of escalating the situation publicly, she encouraged people not to define Geno's legacy by one emotional moment. She praised his contributions to women's basketball and tried shifting focus back to the sport itself. That response earned widespread respect. Because Dawn understood the bigger picture. Women's basketball is growing faster than ever before. Ratings are exploding. Arenas are selling out. National media attention is at an all-time high. And rivalries like UConn versus South Carolina are helping fuel that growth. But the incident also exposed how much pressure exists at the highest levels of the sport. For coaches like Geno and Dawn, these games mean everything. Months of preparation. Recruiting battles. Championship expectations. Public scrutiny. All compressed into 40 emotional minutes. And when those 40 minutes end badly, emotions sometimes boil over. That's exactly what happened here. What made this confrontation especially fascinating was how symbolic it felt. To many fans, it represented a changing of the guard in women's basketball. Geno represented the dynasty that dominated the past. Dawn represented the powerhouse shaping the future. And seeing those two forces collide emotionally on national television created a moment nobody could stop talking about. Still, reactions remained divided. Some fans believed Geno crossed the line no matter what. Others respected him more afterward because he admitted he was wrong instead of making excuses. But regardless of opinion, one thing became undeniable: the rivalry between UConn and South Carolina had officially reached another level. And the next matchup between these programs instantly became must-watch television, because fans will remember this moment forever. Broadcasters will replay it endlessly. Social media will bring it up constantly. That's what great rivalries do. They create emotional history. For Geno Auriemma, this may become one of the most uncomfortable moments of his legendary career. But it may also become one of the most human. Behind all the championships and trophies, fans suddenly saw vulnerability from a coach who spent decades appearing almost untouchable. Frustration. Embarrassment. Regret. Human emotion. And maybe that's why the story connected with so many people. Because everyone has moments they wish they could take back. The difference is most people don't experience those moments in front of millions of viewers. Now the basketball world waits to see what happens next. Can UConn rise back to the top? Will Dawn Staley continue building the sport's new dominant empire? And when these two legendary coaches face each other again, will the emotions be even bigger? One thing is certain. Women's basketball has entered a brand new era. And everybody is watching. If you enjoyed this story, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more explosive women's basketball coverage every single day. We covered Dawn Staley, Geno Auriemma, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, recruiting battles, WNBA updates, transfer portal drama, and all the biggest stories in basketball. And don't forget to comment below, did Geno Auriemma's apology change your opinion about the confrontation, or do you think he crossed the line no matter what? We want to hear your thoughts.